Welcome, it's OnePieceLive here for a One Piece Chapter 789 manga review. Now this is going to be a read-along review. I feel like you guys can get the best out of it through that. And I haven't really made many videos before, but I've watched a lot of videos and I have my own opinions on how to improve content for One Piece. So, to get started, this is on Manga Stream, the chapter 789 titled Lucy. Now I have already read this chapter this time. The next chapter I will do a fresh live reaction and read along, but for this time it will bring a good analysis. So the front page we have a large bulldog with Shanks. Shanks resting out on a cafe's terrace with a dog. Cool, it's always good to see Shanks. Alright, next page. Page 2. And next page, page 3. Some pretty good art of Nami. Page 4. Straw Hats. Alright, now page 5, the beginning of the chapter. Alright, now I'm going to read along. Final minute of fate begins now. Don't let up. More. It stopped once, but at this rate the Central District's mere inches from being made into mincemeat. So that cage is really closing very, very rapidly, and it has really taken over a lot of the country. Now, Dressrosa has a huge population, and they all have to fit into that area in that cage. Jeez, it almost looks like the shell of a bullet, the tip of a bullet, that entire bird cage. It's very impressive ability from Doflamingo. Okay, so even the royal plateaus started getting carved up. Yep, nice. Hurry tank, roger. Alright, what? King Riku and Commander Tank. Alright, so those two have joined the party. I know some people criticize King Riku for feeling hopeless in the previous chapter, but I think when you take the position of the actual people in the manga, if you were going up against an ability like Birdcage, being a normal man like King Riku, it's a bit of a crazy thing to encounter. Alright, next page. I'm in everyone's debt for what you have done. Had you not been here, there's no telling how many tens of thousands of lives we'd have lost by now. It is very true. If the fact that Luffy couldn't finish off Doflamingo in the time required meant that if nothing was done to that birdcage, so many people would be dead by now. Yep. Frankie, giving a nice laugh. Shove. Put your backs into it. Are you going to let this birdcage push you around? Yes, sir. More, all you've got. Yes, sir. He's good. He's given some good motivation for the Tontattas and the Marines, actually. So giving the Marines some orders. Alright, damn. Push this damn birdcage back. Yeah, nice. Alright, next page. Viola-san, please. You've done enough. It's Rebecca. She's crying. Ooh, Viola has been injured. Dripping blood. Ha! She goes for a kick on Flamingo. Blocks with his hand. 10 years. It's Flamingo talking. Just because you spent a decade with me as part of my family, did you actually think I'd hesitate? That I'd falter when given the chance to kill you, my sweet Violet? Oh, he's an evil man. He's good. It's a very impressive villain. I do not chide my allies and underlings when they fail, which is interesting. We've seen that multiple times where people on his family have failed, the executives have failed, but he's actually a fairly accommodating leader, even though he's basically a crazy dictator. Alright, next page. Oh, okay, so he's taken control of Violet using his strings. However, I do not look upon... Oh, jeez, sorry, I can't read at the moment. I do not look kindly upon betrayal. Alright, Rebecca is there. What is she gonna do? And looks like she has just been controlled by strings in that panel. Doflamingo is massive. Look at him standing up like he never even took any damage. He's crazy. Viola-san, my body, I can't. Stop it. Don't drag Rebecca into this. Kill her. No, stop. What am I doing? Rebecca. Why can't I stop? Viola-san. So it's like she's unaware of Doflamingo's powers. This is a pretty traumatic thing for Rebecca. I remember she was never really wanting to be a soldier. She was the daughter of a princess or a queen, so she was forced to learn fighting, taught to her by her father, and now she has to kill like her only sister, who after they're reunited. That's what she's feeling right now. And I mean, I've seen a lot of criticism of Rebecca from other people, but I don't really find that warranted. It's like people can't comprehend the fact that not everyone in this manga is strong, and that less strong people do deserve time. It is a story. It's not just a battle of the strongest manga. It is a story, so I find that criticism unwarranted. Viola-san. Yep, alright. Why can't I stop Viola-san? Alright, next page. Okay, we got a map here of the constricting birdcage Colosseum army. On the far right, Bartolomeo and the citizens. The central district. Oh yes, a lot of people are trying to cram into that. The Tontara Frankian citizens are on the far left. Kanjuro, Kinemon, Zoro and Fujitora plus citizens are there. Now another thing I'll talk about right now, while we're still going, is people's criticisms of Fujitora. Something that people need to keep in mind is that Fujitora has already explained what he's doing in this country. He wants to take down the Shichibukai, but he's not in a position to act out against a member directly of the Shichibukai, which is why he said, I will be blind to whatever happens in this country. So he is in a position where the world government will not allow an admiral to challenge a Shichibukai. They're meant to be on the same side, according to the world government. And these are the people who hired and are the bosses of Fujitora. So yes, in the past, Crocodile Shichibukai went crazy and he was arrested, but I don't know. That's just the position that he's given, and that we just have to accept that as the fact of the situation. Now, do I think he could do more to that birdcage? Hell yeah. I think his gravity powers may work on the strings if you can actually make something change the way gravity affects a certain object. So him just merely pushing a gravity wave against the strings, I don't know if it would do anything, because it may just go straight through. But if he can affect the gravity of the strings and cause them to move outwards and move backwards, that might be a power he has. That might be like an awakened ability affecting the gravity of objects around you. But, you know, he is in a position now where he is waiting and he has put his fate into Straw Hat. So that's his position. He's pushing with his sword. That's fine. People just need to accept that this birdcage is a phenomenally powerful ability. It is probably an awakened ability. He's used his awakened ability to turn objects into strings, but I think it's part and parcel to say that this birdcage is such a phenomenal technique. It really doesn't appear to be that you can destroy it in any way. Perhaps someone strong enough to cut it may be the case, but even Zoro already attempted to cut it, and now they're all pushing it. So it really is a testament to Doflamingo's ability with his string fruit. We have to remember that devil fruits can be just incredibly overpowered. Some are just ridiculously strong. You get hit by a Magellan's poison and you're just dead. There's no question about it. So, you know, it's within the realms of the story, so I'm perfectly fine with the birdcage and its ability and its strength. Also, the fact that it acts as a Faraday cage makes sense to me, because just visually that's what a Faraday cage is, and the principle is that it will block any magnetic interference escaping the cage, and this can be done with just like aluminium or whatever. So the fact that his strings have those properties is not a leap of the imagination to me. Okay, now we're still on page 9. That was a long talk. So continuing off the first panel, go deeper into the city. A citizen cries, "We can't, it's already full of people. Birdcage is right in front of us. It's only a matter of time before it hits the central district." Yeah, I think I find the most enjoyment by imagining myself in the perspectives of some of these people. If you imagine you're in a city that's just being absolutely carved up, and you're going to be forced into the center and then squished by basically lasers coming down from the ceiling by this incredibly strong man. It'll be a very terrifying experience watching all the buildings crumble around you and having nowhere to run. I mean, you imagine yourself in a tsunami or a earthquake situation, and how crazy that would be and how serious that would be. That's kind of some of the things these citizens are going through. Alright, keep going, boys. They're all pushing the barrier. Woo! Alright, Bartolomeo, Hydrogen, we got the advisor to King Elisabello, and we got Kairos. Wait a minute, Rebecca? Where'd she go? I mean, that's fine. She can do what she wants. Alright, here. Right? I'm not sure what they're referring to there. Alright, stop the cage, Zoro and Fujitora. Flamingo just laughs, just smiling. Look at him. How can you take the kind of punishment that the Gear Force put out and still be laughing and smiling? Something people also should remember is that Doflamingo's like fully repairing this types of damage. Now, he says it's not regeneration, but to get hit by a punch, you would have bruised tissue, damaged organs potentially. He can use his strings on a minute level and literally repair the muscle tissue to the point where it was almost like he was never impacted. Add on to that the fact that he uses armament haki. He's very skillful at using that to block these attacks. And you have an incredibly resistant warrior. Like, he is so durable. Very, very durable. Alright, so continuing. So smiling, so that you may be safe, so that as many of you may be as safe as possible. Princess Mancheri is releasing her daffodil powers to heal the citizens of the country. And there's some things brought up by other reviewers that why wouldn't this just heal Doflamingo? Wouldn't this heal others? Wouldn't this heal that? This or that? Now, she's healing the citizens of the country. She already said that that's what she was doing. By all implications, those healing powers are targetable. She can choose which people receive them. The way it landed on that citizen's leg in the previous chapter to make him run faster, I mean, that's just an example. I believe she's using this power to save the citizens. There are fighters protecting Dressrosa, but she is there to save the citizen's life. I mean, could she just go and heal Luffy? Could she go and heal Law? Yeah, she could. She could, but in her distressed state, and what she's doing for the country is to preserve the life of its citizens. I think that's still fairly admirable, what she's doing. And she did heal Law's arm, so that is one thing as well. But yeah, people could say that she could go and heal Luffy. Now, that would just be lame for me. Luffy doesn't need to be healed to beat his opponents. Or he shouldn't need to. Alright, so Gats is inhaling. Now then, everyone, just a little while longer, is yelling over the loudspeakers. What? Whose voice is that? The citizens. Yeah, imagine yourself in a disaster situation and then you hear this voice over the loudspeaker. Our star will rise again. Who the hell is that? At a time like this? Ah, it's coming from over there. You're the announcer from the Colosseum, Gats. When did he get up here? What are you trying to start? Yeah, they have no idea what he's doing. They're all just desperately running for their lives. Everyone, have you forgotten? No, I doubt any of you could actually forget. Someone shut him up. This ain't the time or place. This whole country's on the brink of total destruction and you're on your soapbox. You aren't even King Riku. Yeah, so the citizens don't really have trust in Gads, as they do King Riku. The man who appeared radiant in today's tournament, our gallant, daring star. I have not forgotten. Star? Cavendish, could they be? Are they talking about me? They are, aren't they, Trafalgar? Okay, so he's just now noticed that Trafalgar Law has disappeared. I don't know how much time has passed since then, but his disappearing technique is instant, so Cavendish is too distracted. Trafalgar Law! That's kind of fun. That's pretty funny. He's not here. Where'd he run off to? Now, will Cavendish do anything? The fact that he's meant to be babysitting Law, I believe he gave a pledge of his life to protect Law, that he would die before Law dies. So that implies Cavendish will be coming and following Law wherever he is. Maybe. Okay, next, he tamed that terrifying, murderous bull. He brought down a giant tall enough to touch the clouds. He shattered Don Chinjiao, the living legend. He was pretty strong when he fought Luffy, like, pretty decent. That took quite a lot of haki from Luffy, that battle. It's just something to keep in mind in terms of whether Luffy on a real 1v1 could take out Flamingo. I believe he could. In the hearts of all those in the Colosseum, no, in this country, he lit a fire of passion, that small gladiator. I have, in all my years, never seen a man fight as free and captivatingly as he. I saw him on the monitors. I saw him from the stands. What was his name again? His name is Lucy. Oh, Rebecca. You heard that? Oh, yeah. But who cares? What's he got to do with anything? Lucy, Rebecca is thinking. She knows Lucy's still alive. No, I don't want to kill Viola-san. Save me, Lucy. Yeah, so you're in a country where you've relied on the strength of this warrior who has now just disappeared, and this evil monster who killed your mother, who was responsible for the death of your mother and the fall of your country, and the turning of your father into a toy for 15 or 20 years, and now you're being forced to kill your own sister. Yeah, I think when people give Rebecca a hard time, they just don't understand what they're talking about. Alright. Save me, Lucy. Yeah, I would be thinking the same thing. In truth, Lucy is also known by another name. Straw Hat Luffy. Haha, finally the citizens get to hear again who that person is. Straw Hat is the one. Now, only some of the citizens saw Straw Hat fighting Doflamingo before and Straw Hat bouncing around, but now all of the citizens know, so that is a difference. What? The person under Lucy's mask was Straw Hat? We, who were deceived by and ruled over for so many years by a pirate, Admiral is pushing, may have trouble placing our faith in one, but this pirate is nothing like the Don Quixote that appeared that fateful night 10 years ago, wearing the illusory mask of a hero. The true King Riku, the true King, Lord Riku himself, has declared this man our hope. Right now, this man, wounded in battle, lies on the ground, but Dressrosa know this and quake with happiness. I really enjoy this speech. Lucy has promised us the following. He will KO Doflamingo in a single blow. Wow! Oh man, I really enjoy this. A lot of people criticize this speech, but it really is important to the citizens and the people of the country to hear something like this, give them hope in the face of absolute despair. And I think that is it's an important thing. Alright, Don Chin. Ho, 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 ho. He got a mouth on him, that one. His head is still bent. I don't recall. Oh, was that from Psy? I think it might have been from Psy. Someone bent his head again. But in any case, that man is going to be a powerful asset on the sea. He has his head back. And right now he's tired because he went basically all out to fight Luffy. But once he goes home again, once he has his greatest weapon, his dragon drill nailed back, which he does now, which Luffy has given him that gift, he's going to be able to open up his ice continent again. He's going to be able to re-establish and grow the Happo Navy even more with all of those riches and treasures. And he's going to be a considerably strong fighter in the future. I'm really certain of that, and he'll play a important role as an ally. If you don't, Luffy, we won't be able to hold out for much longer. Zoro is saying we are at our limit at this point. No way, Lucy! Can you hear me, Doflamingo? You who manipulated our king, you who deceived the world, you false ruler, Dressrosa shall be. Gats! Flamingo is dirty. Look at those veins on his forehead. He's a very long way away, Gats. Oh, what does he say? He says, you false ruler, Dressrosa shall be. Next page, your gallows. Oh, I love that. That would energize the citizens so much. Ooh, and he says, Gats says, I can see everything you're doing. If you're going to come for me, then come. Step away from Miss Viola and Rebecca. See, that is pretty beast. He saw that happening and decided to make a speech to attract Doflamingo's attention while also at the same time galvanizing the entire country's support for Straw Hat Luffy. I think that was an absolute fantastic job by Gats, and yeah, he has really been quite a good character for me, especially with this development in this arc. Whoa, the star born in our Colosseum. Lucy shall rise again, and until that moment, we have but 10 seconds. Yes, give him the countdown. This saved the life, Viola and Rebecca. This pause, this Doflamingo looking and going, ugh, Gats, I want to kill you. Okay, now Hardigan, he's straining. What? He crumbles to the floor. Wow, Hardigan. Next page, Dagama also down. Robin saying, this is Leo. The time limit has been reached. Ideo's down. 8 seconds left. Citizens are cheering. Why the hell wouldn't you? What's going on? The wounded that recovered out of the blue earlier, there. Wah, Mancherry's crying even more. The people who first received the powers of the Dandy Healine have reached their time limit. Its powers won't work on them again. I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. It's all because I wasn't strong enough. I showed you hope for a brief moment, but then I've stolen it away. How cruel. No, you're wrong, Princess. Had it not been for your Dandy Heel Lions, there's no telling how many people would have died to Birdcage by now. You have worked a miracle. It's enough that your powers have taken us this far. Luffy Land will handle the rest. Now another thing is, Luffy didn't ask to be healed. There's like, a certain sense of taking away the victory from the hero if you just all of a sudden heal him without his consent. Anyway, that's just a minor point, but it appears from what she said, she doesn't feel she's strong enough. She could only heal people for 5 minutes. Now, she is healing a shitload of people, so she may be able to heal one single person for a longer amount of time, or she may be stuck with the 5-minute healing time. So she can also improve her strength to improve her healing powers, which is really interesting. But yeah, we have the limitation of the 5 minutes or so, which is, it's a good limitation for her, because initially her powers seemed very, very strong when the Doflamingo family were threatening to use her powers. They were also saying that they would use them to reconstruct the factory, so I'm assuming her powers are not healing but restoration. similar to Orihime from Bleach. I have no idea, but just a guess. So she can restore the physical building, the destroyed components of the factory, and perhaps on non-living entities, that is a permanent restoration. So she can restore battleships, she can restore all sorts of things. That's a pretty cool power. But when it comes to life, living things, the healing is limited. Now that seems like a good balance. That seems fair. Alright, next page. Page 18. I know he will get rid of this cage for us. 6, so they're counting down. Get more helpers. Exchange places with those who have fallen. We gotta hold out, from Sai. 5, until Lucy destroys this birdcage for good. It is just tearing through everything. 4, he is listening somewhere. Call out our star's name. That is great. See, not only Gats has done, he's saved Rebecca and Viola. He's galvanized the entire country, stopped them from being in fear, given them hope, given them something to look forward to, and he's also having them chant out Lucy, which is going to motivate Luffy. So that's quite good. 3 seconds. So Luffy's getting up. Bottom panel. Nice. Alright, next page. 2. Oh, alright. So, Gats got stabbed by some awakened strings. Gats-san. Now, you remember when I mentioned how far away Flamingo was from Gats? This Flamingo is so overpowered. People don't understand. Just from standing like a very, very long distance away, like the distance from in the Whitebeard War when he was, standing on the platform and the Whitebeard pirates arrived. He could just go whoop and make a string to stab someone. That is very, very powerful. Lucy, it's going down to 1. Lucy, this farce ends now. Flamingo is pissed. 0. Now it looks like even visually the cage is contracted from the first page of this chapter, even more. Now people are celebrating. 0. Alright, Riku's straining, Zoro's pushing hard, Usopp is on the back of Hack still. Robin is pushing with her arms, giant arms. Die, Flamingo. Sink with just one of our star. Lucy's attacks. I like Gats. He's good. He believed in Lucy. He was always a favourite of Lucy. It's good. Please weather this, Viola-san. So he bought some time. Close your eyes, Rebecca. So Rebecca was saying, please weather this. Please take this blunt attack of my sword. But she's not sure if she'll kill her or not. You can't just hit someone with a piece of metal on the head and be sure if they'll live or die. That would be a very traumatic situation. Close your eyes, Rebecca. You don't have to look at anything. This is all just a nightmare. I won't hate or hold a grudge against you. Just forget all of this. None of it is your fault. Look at that. Violet, bringing the D action. Getting the smile before the death. I like that. Oh no, then she's a bit sad after. Next panel. Yeah, so it's great words to say. If you ever someone had to kill you and it was your friend and they were forced to do it. It's something to try and ease the pain you would experience after. No, she charges. Forgive me, Rebecca. I'm going to leave a deep wound in your heart. Yeah, yep, definitely. Flamingo just chilling. He's like 25 foot tall. Look at him. Alright, he's coming down. Bang! Smashes the sword on Luffy's head. Looks like he used a little bit of hardening, unless that's blood. In any case, he would have used Haki, whether it was the hardening or the regular. Smash! Flamingo, surprise face in that big panel. Yeah, Luffy looks ready. Hells yeah. Funga! That's what he said. Oh, Rebecca's so surprised. She bopped him on the head. Yes, good old Law. Switch places with Viola. What a legend. Straw Hat. Flamingo's angry, yelling, Lucy! Hell yeah, he's the savior. She's the one who gave him lunch. She's the one who tried to kill him in the Colosseum but couldn't. because she wanted to free her country. You know, she's just a... It's important to see the perspective of a person who's not ridiculously powerful. You know, if Luffy wasn't here, what would happen? Exactly, like... Luffy is the catalyst for the change, and he's a very strong fighter. It's just not everyone is the same. Okay. Go, Law says. Gats is crying, he sees him. He appears! Hell yeah! I love how Gats is on the mic now, because he's giving the citizens even more motivation to stay alive. He appears! Lucy! Alright. Freaking Luffy. The vein in the head, like Flamingo. With the eyes, with the freaking veins in them. Jeez, that is a serious Luffy. And Flamingo just smiling. The final gong. And that is it. That was pretty interesting. Now, in terms of big moments, big exciting moments, there wasn't that many in this chapter. And people have criticized it for that, and people say that these pages are pointless. But I certainly disagree with that. This is a story after all. We're not here to just see Luffy 1v1 all of the strong opponents in the world. Luffy's here to bring change to the world as well. And he's here to bring change to these people in Dressrosa. So I think it's important to show their progress in the midst of a disaster. The Gats' speech was important. I believe the continued pushing efforts and what was shown from Viola and Rebecca was good. Viola tried to fight him, but he's simply just disgustingly powerful. If Doflamingo wasn't playing around, he would have just destroyed her instantly with strings from the ground, like he destroyed those gladiators. He is incredibly powerful. Gats bought time for Rebecca, and Viola showed some continued pushing of the cage. Now, I'm pretty happy to have a build-up chapter like this, because we wait a week and then we have the final. So you know, it's not that big of a deal. I think people really get a bit upset when they aren't delivered the most engaging, exciting, and amazing content in a week's chapter. But this is a story. Stories have their ups and lows. Stories have their exciting moments, and stories have their build-up. So I really enjoyed this chapter. I'm actually going to give it a great, because I really enjoyed the speech. I thought it was very effective in what it did. And I really liked the headbutt moment when Lucy was swapped in by Law to save Viola. It was great to smash the sword with his head, and he's just ready to go. So, yeah, I thought this chapter was pretty good. Now, I'll have some general discussion. I wanted to just talk a little bit about Luffy and Flamingo now. So, Flamingo has just taken hits like an absolute monster, but he has shown that he is weakening. He has shown that he was wobbling and wavering earlier. But, you know, when he's toying with Rebecca and Viola, he's just chilling, standing, whatever. Just chilling. Just evil villain. Strong as fuck. So, just a few comments about Flamingo's strength. I mean, this guy can make it unbreakable. It's basically unbreakable from the powers the people have here, aside from Fujitora, if he decided to go all out. He may be able to affect it, but he may not. Devil fruits work in odd ways. So it's something that can be pushed against. So Fujitora could potentially use his gravity to push against a Bartolomeo barrier, or he could use his gravity in general. We saw what his meteors do to the birdcage, absolutely nothing. So birdcage is basically immune from all types of projectiles. You get instant radio silence, and a cage that is so powerful it's contracting momentum. Flamingo can still battle 1v1 with his full power while having this thing contract on an entire country. Flamingo is incredibly powerful. He is very, very powerful. Then not to mention, basically, people also had some criticisms about these fighters going to push the birdcage instead of going to try to finish off Flamingo. People just don't understand. Flamingo would kill so many people so easily. What? Okay, Zoro. Zoro, number one, he won't. Luffy said Flamingo was his, so Zoro is not going to do that. Zoro's not going to go there and fight him. Luffy said he would do it. So Zoro is out. And even in any case, I don't think Zoro has... Oh yeah, I think Zoro could do it. Zoro could do it. He has very good speed, and his cutting power would be able to cut through the strings that Flamingo uses to block, and he might be able to get in a hit. But I think most people can only get in one hit on Flamingo. It's he's just incredibly powerful. He turns the whole country into strings. He uses the strings to block. You basically have to have Geppo to fly to avoid these strings. If you're on the ground, he just causes a giant string tsunami and just destroys you. Yeah, like all of people criticizing these Colosseum fighters for not going and finishing off Flamingo. It's basically like, oh yeah, let's go fight an admiral. Like, the powers and feats that Flamingo has shown has been basically the same as any admiral has shown. He's shown countrywide effects. He's shown powers that an entire country can't push against. They can't remove the birdcage, aside from another admiral who could be able to do it. But maybe not. Maybe Doflamingo's ability is just that I make an indestructible string barrier, and you have to defeat me to get rid of it. That's the only way to defeat it. It could very well be that way. People make assumptions that things aren't as strong, but we haven't really been given any indication about that. So I think Flamingo's power level is very exceptionally high. I think he is... I think he's just under Admiral level. Like, just under. It's hard for me to say, actually, because, you know, if Luffy went all out, if an Admiral took those Gear 4 attacks... Now, bear in mind, an Admiral didn't really get hit very much in the war. Yeah, they took Akainu took a Whitebeard Quake, and he got, you know, knocked into the floor, but those Gear 4 attacks look incredibly powerful. And Doflamingo, as he was hit by one, said it was incredibly powerful. He got knocked from the palace so damn far. And this is a guy who is very powerful. I really think Luffy is much stronger than people give him credit for. The fact that he fought Don Chinjiao and he's been running around the country the entire day. He used a lot of haki to fight Don Chinjiao. He used his conquerors. He used armaments on several different attacks. That is going to take some energy out of him. Doflamingo is relatively in a much better position. He's used his bird cage. Yeah, I don't know what effort that takes out of him, but basically it seemed like almost nothing to him. He's still been able to freely manipulate the entire country into strings, and he's taken an incredible amount of damage because of his healing ability. Now that regeneration and healing of his strings is such a powerful asset to Doflamingo. If he took those hits and didn't have that ability to heal himself, he would have been dead from Law's countershock, and he would have been defeated from Luffy's Gear 4 easily. That ability to repair himself is a very, very strong asset for him. Now, I really do believe he's just under Admiral level, because in his clash with Aokiji, he got frozen completely, broke out of it like it was nothing. He was breathing after that, but I assume you'd be breathing if you got frozen solid. I mean, you might be a little bit colder than normal, so you may be breathing a little bit. People would say that was him being tired, but there's no way. From the punishment Flamingo's taken, there's no way that was him tired. And I think his arrogance towards an admiral, not only Aokiji ignoring his direction to stop killing Smoker and just trying to kill him anyway, and also kicking Fujitora, Flamingo has the power to contend with an admiral. An admiral is not going to shut down Flamingo easily. It would be a considerable battle, and I really do believe that to be the case. Now, an admiral, I think, has the power in the long run to overpower him. I mean, you imagine, yeah, sure, Flamingo can contract a cage, but Aokiji can turn an entire continent into basically frozen tundra, and similar with Akainu, who can turn it into a magma lava everywhere. Now, those two fought for the position of fleet admiral, so that is above an admiral. Akainu is above an admiral, and Aokiji at that point basically is an above an admiral. He competed evenly with Akainu for 7 days. Now, to Fujitora, I think he's probably less powerful than those two, because he has admitted that he is older. No, those two admirals are young, so is Kizaru, who's relatively young. They're all very powerful in the midst of their, probably their highest powers, and Fujitora is a bit older, but his fighting style appears to be very strong mastery of the Devil Fruit. So obviously he will live up to the title of an admiral, and he's definitely just deciding not to act and see what happens with Straw Hat. Now, if Straw Hat died now, I think Fujitora would do something to save this country. I think he would, because he has all of his men there and everything else, but he doesn't want to be responsible for taking out a Shichibukai. What would that do to his goal? People have to understand from the perspective of the characters. His goal is the elimination of the entire Shichibukai system, and that may be at the Reverie, where the meeting of the world nobles. It may be his agenda is something that he wants to get achieved. It may take him years to do so. He's not going to just willingly destroy that ability, especially since he was recently recruited. He's not going to just go and clash against Flamingo and have Flamingo make up, whatever he says. Oh, an admiral just attacked me in my country. An admiral just tried to defeat me in my country. I don't think the Marines probably wouldn't care, but the world government is not going to accept that. That goes against their wishes. They have Shichibukai for a reason, and Flamingo also has World Noble connections and the CP0 connections, who I don't know if they're still on the island either. That's something I wonder. The only fresh person really is Cavendish, so maybe there's a clash there. I don't know. So yeah, I think Luffy 1v1 Flamingo, Luffy would win. We saw from his Gear 4th that he attacked Flamingo and thought he was finished. And he didn't attack him. He screwed around for quite a while and then tried to attack him again and ran out of his time limit. Now, Luffy still has a relatively small time limit on the Gear 4th. And I'm not sure about that whole 20 minutes thing, if that was just an editor's note or if that really was skipping 20 minutes of the battle. Now, it didn't seem like it was skipping 20 minutes of the battle just by the flow of the conversation and the flow of the battle, and that conversation being King Riku talking to the citizens. Now, that battle seemed to be flowing very, very, very quickly in a fast-paced manner. If Luffy can put him down now, I just really think that Luffy is stronger than Doflamingo. In Gear 4th, Doflamingo cannot contend with Luffy in Gear 4th. Luffy is so fast and so powerful, Flamingo's attacks do nothing to him. Luffy was unscathed. He was hit by a hamstring to the side, to the kidneys, and Luffy shrugged that attack off. And that attack was with 5 strings coming from his foot, which should be a cutting attack. Now, Luffy in the past has said his haki is not as strong to cutting attacks from Hody Jones and the Fishman Island. He did got chomped right through the shoulder. Now, Luffy never went Gear 4th. If he went Gear 4th, he would have destroyed the Noah with maybe like one hit. That's the power I believe these hits have. They are incredibly powerful looking hits. Well, maybe if it's not one hit, he would have destroyed Noah very easily. So that was never any question. And if you look back at Luffy's fights after the time skip, you look at all of the dangerous situations he's been in where he hasn't gone Gear 4th. Now that may be because Gear 4th is quite a strain on his body, or he's just not needed it. He's fought Caesar, he's fought, quite a few people, and, Gear 4's never had to come out. He's very strong. And we'll get to see that against some even stronger fighters after Flamingo, and the next one on the horizons are the Yonko and their commanders, and that's going to be full on. Luffy needs to grow more. He needs to increase this time limit on this Gear 4th, and he also needs some different modes. Now, he may have different modes already, but he can only choose one to use because of the time limits. He used Bound Man, which suggests that there are other modes. So Luffy's really just I think he's in a great position in terms of power level, and especially after this battle is done. Think about it, Luffy has not had experience after his training in fighting a high tier opponent yet. This is going to give him an immense amount of battle experience, and we know that Luffy throughout this manga, whenever he gets an immense amount of battle experience and whenever he fights someone strong, he is always much stronger after. It's basically a given that he can defeat that same person again, because he knows so much more. Look at all of the things he's had to do. Another thing with Gear 4th is the ability to manipulate the direction of his punches, which is an absolute fantastic asset. Basically makes his hits unavoidable. Yeah, you dodge. Oh, but my arm dodged with you. And it makes it imperceptible to observation haki, because you expect the hit to come straight ahead and it darts off to the left and then hits you in the face. That is an incredibly powerful ability. No wonder Rayleigh had confidence in this man going straight to the top, which I believe he will. Obviously, that's the story of One Piece. But he has a good foundation level of his powers at this point in time. He needs to get more experience and build his powers, build his limitations, and work forward from there. But what he's shown so far is very impressive. And once he can work on that limitation, add some more gear modes, and perhaps even Gear 5th, yeah, Luffy's going to be definitely up there. I really think he is. He's just under Admiral level at this point. He would wipe the floor with pretty much every Vice Admiral, being that Virgo was pretty much one of the strongest Vice Admirals. We do have some of the vet Vice Admirals, Momonga and those types at the war. Now, nothing really was shown of people's powers at the war, the full extent. So, I certainly think Luffy is above them. I think Luffy is just under Admiral level, that's my opinion. From what he has shown, the powers of his attacks, his ability to dodge, his feats, his ability to bypass observation haki, the fact that he has Conqueror's haki, I think he's the strongest of the supernovas. And I can't really say that concretely without seeing what Kid can do. And also the fact that Law was mega nerfed in this arc. He had to fight against an Admiral and Doflamingo at the same time on Greenbit. That is so unfair. He had to dodge meteors while running. He got put on the ground, compressed by Fujitora's gravity. They thought he couldn't activate his ability, yet he did and ran. So they're already surprised at his endurance. He then saved the Straw Hat Pirates by throwing a barrel and then rooming to the barrel and saving Sanji's life because he got attacked by Flamingo. And the way another thing people say is that Sanji got held by strings. Why didn't Luffy get held by strings? Now I believe the reason is that those strings, it's something if you know what's happening. Sanji had no idea. Sanji didn't know what his powers were. So he got held there and he didn't know what was happening. It hasn't affected Luffy, and I don't believe Doflamingo can do that to him. And I don't believe it's an inconsistency. It's just something that hasn't been explained, the exact mechanism for how he does that control. Now, he did control Jozu at the war. And no, he didn't control him, he just stopped him. Now, just stopping someone, yeah, that's fine. But if Jozu turns around and rips those strings off, yeah, the fight continues. I don't believe in any way that Doflamingo has that as a fallback power he can use against Luffy. He would have used it before. It doesn't work on characters of that strength, or if you have the knowledge of his abilities. Sanji didn't have the knowledge, and yeah, got pretty much defeated easily, and that's a very high level fighter Sanji is. Sanji is someone who can clash with Vice Admirals, and look at Smoker. This is another testament to Flamingo's strength. Flamingo one-shotted Smoker, who had already healed after Sanji's revitalizing broth, at Punk Hazard after they had a celebration. Flamingo rocked up, used Conqueror's Haki, knocked out all of his men, and basically one-shotted Smoker. And one-shotted Sanji. That is the power of this man, and that is the power of his ability, and that is testament to Luffy's strength, and also Law's strength. Now, continuing with Law, after saving the Straw Hats, saving Sanji, he then fought with Doflamingo on the bridge, 1 vs 1. This battle led all the way into town, where Law, who already was fighting against an admiral and Doflamingo, running out of steam, he ends up getting shot. Then he gets carried all the way back up to the palace, and basically he fights again. He's used his room so many times. He's had the ability to have a massive room, all the while pretending that he was knocked out, saving himself from the bullets. Law's fighting style is absolutely amazing. It is so cool to watch and so great to see in manga. It brings such dynamic action to fights. Imagine in the Yonko battles, that his ability is going to be so useful. And I'm really looking forward to when Law fights someone next, because with Smoker, he was just toying with Smoker, defeated him easily. He is very powerful himself. Law is very, very powerful. If he was full strength for this battle, I think he would have been able to do some more. I don't think he would be able to defeat Doflamingo though, because he doesn't have... See, Law's room ability can compensate for his lack of speed compared to Luffy. If he can swap himself at will within his room, and it seems at this point in time he needs to swap himself with an object, but if his ability extends to the fact where he can just teleport anywhere in his room, and he can do that quickly enough, oh man, that is like Minado's Flying Thunder God, but not needing seals for it, and having a space you can teleport in that is basically the size of a small island. That is a very, very powerful Yonko tier ability that once Law grows, and he is definitely going to be of that power level in the future. That is, I definitely believe that. Look at the things that he's done from his abilities. Oh, that Gamma Knife was very impressive. If that landed on other strong opponents, and that opponent might be an admiral, if he actually landed that attack on an admiral, shredding his organs and destroying them from the inside, I don't think that's something even an admiral can come back from. Now, that may be that the admiral wouldn't have got hit from that attack. He would have, phased into whatever ice, magma, lightning, but not all admirals, as we can see from Fujitora, are Logias, and the Law has an incredible ability to perform sneak attacks. His room is so deadly, that's why it's so good. It's such a good partnership with him and Luffy. So yeah, those are my thoughts on this arc, a bit of the strength and power levels between the characters. So just in general, this chapter, I enjoyed it. It wasn't a super battle chapter or anything like that, but it was a good, solid setting up chapter, and I really appreciated the perspectives from the varying members of the fighting team, the citizens, Gats, Rebecca. Yeah, I did enjoy this chapter, and I was a bit surprised by the level of animosity towards it, because I feel like a lot of people really need to reevaluate their expectations of One Piece. They feel that if a panel isn't dedicated to a fight, then it is a wasted panel. Or if it has some meaning that they don't appreciate, it's a wasted panel. Now, meaning is subjective, and this is Oda writing a story here. It's not a battle. It's not just 19 pages of battle every week. There's a story involved, so I think when people look to the perspectives of the people in the actual story, you can gain a lot of benefit from doing that, and I think people don't really do that. They tend to just want to watch the battles between Luffy and the main characters and talk about how strong they are, but I do find a lot of enjoyment in the journeys of the smaller, lesser known, less appreciated characters. That's just me. So thank you very much for watching the review, and it would be appreciated if you could leave a comment if you would like, or a thumbs up. That would be cool, and I will hopefully do a review next week. We have a break, and we'll do a review next week. Alright, see you later.